Greetings, Dr. Will here. Welcome back to the serialization of what you don't know. Successfully lead a software project without tech expertise. Episode 9, Chapter 3, How and What to Organize, Life Cycles and Teams, Part 3.
Peopleware. There are a few books I would universally recommend for software project leaders, especially beginning ones. Peopleware by Tom DeMarco and Tim Lister is one of them. As Mona Lisa Vito in My Cousin Lenny would say, they are dead-on balls accurate. It's an industry term about the management of people in a technical environment. Their focus is more on the traditional employee-based teams rather than gig economy hired guns. That said, their focus is on the indisputable fact that software as a people business is both refreshing and needed. If you want to know why agile processes are important, then read Peopleware and carry the author's skepticism of institutional programs into your project. Building an environment that values individual effort, teamwork, and personal and team and company improvement is a worthy, perhaps sine qua non goal for any worthwhile organization. Problems may arise when they become institutionalized rather than internalized. Ceremony is the term used to describe the formal parts of any defined process. Formality here means how well defined and how closely managed the process is. For example, how are requirements specified? Are they even written down? Are they written as use cases, user stories, or something else? How are they quality controlled? How are they managed and maintained? It is seductive to think that ceremony can be ignored because the founder, quote, doesn't even know if they will still be in business in 5 years, close quote. Startups are encouraged to fail early and fail often. The risk is, of course, that they don't fail exactly. They may make it to 7,000 MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or whatever they are measuring as their success metric. They have a bunch of customers, a small bunch perhaps, but a growing bunch. Their customers, like good early adopters, offer improvement suggestions and report defects that the nearly non-existent quality process didn't report, because the first place we save money is by skimping on QA, well, right after skimping on ceremony. They now have a maintenance headache, a maintenance migraine. They have a body of poorly documented code that may be of uneven, if not slipshod quality, that must have bugs fixed and new features developed simultaneously. Even if they got away with code slingers before, that cannot sustain them long term, or even short term now. With money in short supply, a stable team is needed to carry the project forward. Note on heroes. You may be lucky enough to have a, quote, super programmer, close quote, on your project, or unlucky enough. Depends on how you manage them. Watts Humphrey calls it the, quote, myth of the super programmer, close quote, by the way. It is true, though. Some people do write code 5 to 10 times faster than ordinary mortals. I've known 2 people like that in my 40-year career. If a founder has such a person on the team, they will want to make it possible for them to write code 5 to 10 times as fast as anybody else. But they may be tempted to do so by not burdening the hero with ceremony, meetings, and that sort of thing. But that isn't a programmer. That is an unguided missile. Such a programmer will build the system they want to develop, and there is an outside chance that it may even be the same system the founder wants. But if it isn't, then there will be a huge institutional bias against throwing out a bunch of existing code, and that will warp the project and the product. A founder with such a team member also must be ready for them to leave, perhaps abruptly. If the development schedule has been built to depend on 5 to 10 times normal productivity, then there's a huge risk that the hero may be eaten by a dragon. That risk must be carefully managed. It is a tricky balancing act to get enough system built to attract and continue to attract new customers while having adequate quality so that current customers don't quit. Churn. But a bootstrap project doesn't usually have sufficient resources to develop consistently high-quality software. Finally, any of the lifecycle models can fall quite rapidly from their defined process back to the earliest stage of lifecycle evolution, code and fix, hacking basically. When the going gets tough, when for example there's an existential threat to the company's livelihood, there's a temptation to throw defined processes and ceremony out the window, and in a devil-take-hindmost approach, hack the code until it appears to mostly work, and then deploy it with fingers crossed. This usually does not end well. Look for a better solution. Roles. Tasks are performed by people supported more or less by automation. Roles are assigned responsibilities and people fill different roles at different times. On a small team, each person will fulfill multiple roles, sometimes all simultaneously. In larger organizations, numerous people will often fill specific roles, and only occasionally will people fill multiple roles. It all depends. Important roles fall into the categories of management, support, and development and DevOps. The management and support roles are responsible for ensuring the development and DevOps roles can work effectively and efficiently to complete development and deployment according to schedule and budget. Management roles include business manager, project manager, change control and configuration manager, and deployment manager. Support roles include course or training developer, process engineers, system and network administrators, technical writer. Supporting a fielded system requires more than a little effort. A narrow list of developer or DevOps roles would include only the implementer, programmer, and DevOps specialists. The remaining roles might be considered support. A broader view consists of the business analyst, architect, database designer and administrator, user interface, user experience designer, system integrator, and quality assurance specialists, for example, automated test developer, in the list of developer roles. Most of the roles also include the additional responsibilities of reviewing work products, business models, requirements, architecture, code and database design, courseware, and user-facing documentation. There's much more to do than merely write code.
That ends Chapter 3, How and What to Organize Life Cycles and Teams. Join us next time for Episode 10, Part 1 of Chapter 4, The Stages of Development, Discrete Activities. That's it for me, for you, for now. Be careful out there. Bye.